Alright, guys, so for tonight's content, we're going to be talking about a brand first or the product. Should we build a brand first or should we build a product first? This is for a startup business, not necessarily for a startup actually, because if you have multiple products before you launch a product or a business idea or concept, that's something that you would like to know, right? So in this content, we're going to be talking about three different topics related to the brand first or the product. So the first would be, what should come first, the brand or the product? Right. So in the past, as we all know that, people really don't care about what your brands are. I'm talking about, say, 50 years ago, right? Everything was based on their experience, taste, feelings, right? And then in the last about 30 years, what we have seen is that brand becomes some sorts of identity for every business, correct? So, and as we move on now, about like a 20 to 25, say, it's actually about 30 years now, we see something like Apple, right? Apple become the brand. But now, if we also looked in the market, right, say, in terms of energy drinks, correct? Let's call it as let's talk about the Red Bull. So Red Bull is something that, you know, people necessarily haven't tasted what Red Bull or the energy drink is, but everybody does recognize the brand. And so it's easier for one to pick the product because they recognize the brand, right? So there are some advantage, mostly, but then there are also some disadvantage on it. But again, when we have to build a brand or launch a product, we have to really understand that what is the current capacity, which means do we have a sufficient budgets? Do we have the proper strategies, plans, or the roadmap for the product or the process to complete the product, right? There's a lot of things which we have to think about before we launch the product, because before the product, it comes always the marketing. So when you are doing marketing, probably the product marketing may be good, but at the same time, people want to identify what product is that, or not necessarily who make that, right? So when you go to, say, Best Buy or to buy a laptop, right, you do not talk to people the model number of the laptop, but you talk about the brand. For example, Apple, Hewlett Packard, right, or Dell. You do not say, "Oh, I want a Pavilion," or "I want a MacBook Pro," or whatever the HEIR, right? What you say is, "I want an Apple tablet," right? The product is almost the same, but it has a little bit configurations here and there, which means that when people recognize the brand or whatever they want to buy first, right, they go with the brand name. They do not identify that brand product that they want to buy with the model, but they go with the brand first. Say you go to a Tesla store, right, a dealership, and you do not say, "I want to buy X, Y," but you say, "I want to buy a Tesla first," right? So you now understand a bit of idea that what is important first, the brand or the product, right? So the reason why I'm saying this, because each product we try to make it today, right, probably it is already saturated. Many people have tried, taste, experiment, feel it, right? So the market is kind of saturated already. Now, what is the advantage on having the brand before the product, right? So let's say if you're trying to build a product which is totally unique, but people do not identify, do not recognize what it is. Then the problem comes here that how will you sell that particular problem? So here is one of the key point that I would like you to understand is that a product necessarily do not carry anything with except the quality, right? So the product just carry one key factor or so one particular strong point, that is the quality of the product. But when it comes to the brand, right? Brand usually does have a very strong principle behind it. Basically, product does not have a brand mission, right, or a purpose to serve. It's just about the quality of the product. That's it, right? If you want a graphic PC, you buy the graphic PC. But there's a lot of other PC that people don't have to buy the graphic PC when they do not need for gaming, right? So very, very, very similar to that. Now, if you try to have this particular product and you want to create a purpose on that product or the missions for that product, you may not be able to have multiple, missions and multiple divisions of your product. But here's one of the good key to minimize and kind of, set it up in a proper way would be your brand carry a mission and your brand carry a purpose. So what happens is that when you have this brand build up or you are building the brand carry all the product itself and the brand carry all the missions and the purpose of the entire product. You don't have to create a mission and the product, mission and the purpose to serve to the people on every product, but instead you can just create one mission, one purpose to serve the people, the community using your brand, right? So in my opinion, the first thing would be to build the brand, then based on your mission and the purpose and the feedback from your community, build the product, right? So the next one that we're going to be talking about today is what are the advantages of building the brand first and product later, right? So once you have built your community around your brand, so let's say you start your little marketing campaign, which necessarily don't have to be paid marketing campaign. So you start your Instagram page, your YouTube, TikTok, right? What you're doing is that you're trying to create followers and subscribers, or basically build a community within whatever the channel that you have. So basically, the channel becomes your brand, and you're trying to build a community. So it'll help you in many ways to market a product and see, to launch. Not only that, it'll give you plenty of other options to expand your business and opportunity. So what happens is that when you have that particular brand built, you are trying to interact with your audience at the same time, right? You're engaging your audience to talk about. So one of the best way would be, say you have some survey going on, right? You are asking people what they think about if you would do that. One of the things that I would also want to add in this note is that do not be worried about who is going to steal your product. There are many people who does, and it's been going for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. So never be worried about who is going to steal your product or your idea or your concept. The only problem that many people can do, the only problem many people is that they can steal your idea. But out of, I would say, like in 100, only 5 people can execute your idea, and you should be one of those 5 people who should execute your own idea, right? So never be worried about what you're sharing with people. Never be worried about what you are trying to serve, to the people, because not everybody knows what is the mindset. Many people come and try to steal your brand because they just want to maybe monetize it. They just want to be known or for some reason. But at the end, Serving the purpose is the key to, achieve any goals. So if you talk about your idea and be transparent to the people before even you build a product, people will know you what you're trying to do it. And as you have been the innovator of that idea, right, you will be able to kind of bring more a genuine concept or idea or thoughts or product line to your own community. That's where they will know it, they will stay with you because you sow the seeds and it spread the roots, and they know it that how you're going to be taking care of that particular fruit, right? Because everybody will wish you, not everybody, but some will wish you to be fruitful, right? So the good thing about the brand first is that you don't actually need a lot of money, but to have a product, you at least need some money to start the product. And one of the other thing is that when you start building a brand, it's kind of easier to expand the business and sell the business or license the business, right? So for example, let's say you want to raise a capital, right? Say you need some investment for your business, or you want to expand your business opportunity. How are you going to present yourself to the people, right? So if you say that you have the best fried chicken in town, right? Do you think that people will come and buy because you have the best fried chicken in town, or would it be because you call your name, your brand as a KFC or something of that sorts, and you do have the best chicken in town, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that people do not ask necessarily first where the best product is. The reason is because each product is based on, or say the review or the feedback or the suggestions or the comments or whatever, or what do you call it, referrals, right? These are based on each person, taste, feelings, and all those. But it cannot be the same as your palates, as your taste. So you probably may be selling, or somebody would have told you that there's a chicken in town which is the best. But you already know in one way that KFC sells the best chicken as well, right? So that's what you have to understand. The advantage of having a good brand and better than having a better product in town or in a business. So let's say when you pitch for your investment or meet somebody from a company who's a decision maker of the business. So the first thing they would ask is not about the product or necessarily about the brand, but what is the first number that you will be able to show? It'll be your community, right? Like how many fan followers you have it, how many people have downloaded your applications, how many people have subscribed to your channel, right? How many people are return audience, right? All those things is some key factor that you can always share with your investors or partners, because the number that you should be able to compare with the product is going to be way different with the number of product you sell, and the number of community network that you have access to using your brand is going to be different, right? So how do you impress with the brand and the product? The product takes a long time for people to taste and recognize it. And the product has to be physical most of the time, right? Either it's a service or some sort of a brand that you are selling. If it's a, it doesn't matter if it's a digital product, physical product, right? But if you spread well the networking of your brand, people will recognize you even before they taste your product. So let's say your product may be the best in the market based on customer feedback. Here's the thing, how would you explain about your fried chicken? Would it be better for you to say that your brand is a KFC or whatever the brand name that you have it? Or how would you say that you are the one who's the best chicken fried seller in town? Right. You don't want to be known as a chicken fried store right across the street, right? But you want to be known as a brand name that is across the street that serve best fried chicken in town, right? So keep in note that your brand name is a spokesperson for your business life, not your product. You can change ingredients, you can change product quality in your products, but if you do not, what I call it, serve well with the brand, you're gonna get hit very bad. So the best way is to first build a strong foundation, and that will be a brand. All right, so the last one would be, which one is easier to expand the brand or the product? Right. So brand selling is all about license and permit. As you know it, what does the brand requires and what does the product requires? So in terms of a brand, it's all about paperwork, it's all about licensing, it's all about distributions and marketing of your digital product most of the time. I would say 90% of the time. 10% would be you're trying to, give some sorts of goodies in terms of gadgets, and you purchase all those t-shirts, hats, keychain, etc. Right? So, which one is easier to expand the brand or the product? Let me tell you in this way. So you have, you don't necessarily have to have a trademark, but I would suggest you strongly suggest you that before you come up with a brand name, it can be any acronyms or it can be any single word or whatever that you think. Right? Please register that name as a domain name. You don't need to have a domain email address. You don't need to have a web hosting space yet. Just have the domain first, because the domain per year is about $9 to $15. I think that is one of the first things that you would like to buy, because you do not want to spend first thing hundreds and hundreds of thousands on trademark, right? You don't want to, you don't have anything yet to even patent it. So in food industry, ingredients, you do not it's very complicated, but that's not the reason people don't do it, which is patenting the ingredients. But what you can do is you can trademark your brand name, right? One of the good thing, one of this guy, a friend of asked me, like, what if somebody has my brand name, say, hey, if they have your same brand name, probably they might just want to buy your domain name as well. So maybe you just invest about like $15. Just try to tell them, hey, if you want a domain name, I'm offering for $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, because they need that domain name, especially with the .com. You can. So the less investment is first buy the domain name. So in terms of the easier ones, well, nothing is easy, but kind of a more lightweight to start is to start with the brand, because as we have mentioned here, that branding is all about licensing, it's all about paperwork. So once you have this product with you, or say the brand name with you, right? For example, let me give you a quick scenario here. If you, let's say you build a brand and you have a product, right? So let's say, let's get back to fried chicken, right? If you try to sell your ingredients to newcomers or anyone who wants to start a restaurant, or let's say if you want to sell your fried chicken to a restaurant who wants to start a fried chicken menu, right? Do you think they will buy your ingredients? Or the other way would be, how about you have a fried chicken, right? And you have a brand. Your brand is well enough, good enough in the market. Now, you approach to this small business owner and tell them, hey, I have KFC brand, or say, let's say, whatever the brand, let's say your brand name is Jimmy's Chicken, let's say, right? So, are you going to tell somebody, hey, I have ingredients for my chicken, and would you like me to share it to you so that I can, work around and add these products into your menu, and whatever the sales that you got it from here, from this product, you give me some sorts of a royalty, right? I don't think so. Out of 100, you might will just get 1 or 2. That's going to be your close friend or somebody who just want to play around with you. Or the other way would be, if you go to the same restaurant and say, here's my brand, right? Jimmy's Chicken, it's best in town. Would you like to have Jimmy's Chicken in your menu? All the ingredients, I will give it to you. I will tell you what is the, what's in the recipe book. All right, and if it's required training, you're just gonna give them a training. And then if they are willing to sign up for Jimmy's Chicken, right? That means that there you are building your brand. Also, your brand is bringing crowd, audience, customers for them. At the same time, their customers have access to Jimmy's Kitchen at that restaurant. After all, once you exchange the paper, you can ask royalty on selling any of this product, which is from Jimmy's Chicken. So, of course, with that, branding is easier to monetize than the product. So keep in mind, right? Think the only reason why I want to share with you this, because I don't want you guys to spend a lot of money on trying to start a new business. First, understand, do you need a lot of capital to operate, to start a business, or do you need to have a good structure or a strategy to start a business? Because all I can say is that I did not know it. I had a few mentors, but then who got hit? I got hit, right? All this experience that I have, I want to share with you guys, because you have the free platform today. Back in the days, if you have to market your brand, you either go through radio channel or advertisement company, newspaper, TV, right? Everybody asks you for money, and if you do not have the money, no radio show, nobody put ads on their radio, on the TV, newspaper, or even the advertisement company, they don't want to help you out. Guys, today you have a free platform. You have your TV show, that's YouTube. You have your radio show, that's Shopify. Or if not, then if you want to do a free application, you just go with the SoundCloud. Register yourself, right? Use SoundCloud, Mixcloud, right? And you don't need to have your own newspaper. You don't need to partner with a newspaper. You have your own TikTok. You have your own Instagram. You have your Facebook. Guys, you guys have to use this platform to start building your brand. And once you build up your community, build your product based on the demand and the need or the requirements by your community or for your community. I hope this content is helpful for you. Right, guys, if you like it, please do share your comments and thoughts and feedbacks. I will really appreciate to see you on the next video again.